For those of you who are new on the call, we are the Temple of Wholeness. We do this call once a month. This is Code Church of Direct Experience. Temple of Wholeness is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to helping amplify the awakening of individuals and collectives in this time that we as individuals and collectives need it most. The format for today is we're going to start with a attunement to go into a practice and end with a prayer and be leaving this space in the delight of being connected, internally oriented, and having explored the nature of absolute perfection. We are honored to have you with us. Thank you for being a part of our temple family. So we will start right away with an attunement.
So I invite you as we begin here to start by closing your eyes. And as we close our eyes, we decide to begin to draw our attention away from what is external, what pulls on us constantly throughout the day, to tend to our interior. So as we close our eyes, we allow our attention to begin to move inwards, reversing the directionality. And just allowing some nice full breaths to arrive into this moment, into the space. Noticing with each inhale that you can draw more of your energy and attention present into this moment, into your body. And with each exhale, you can allow yourself to relax in and down more fully, to feel that your sit bones can rest more completely into the surface beneath you, feeling that surface rising up to support you. And discovering with each exhale, how much more can I give over to the surface that's supporting me? Can I allow all the momentum of my morning, what came before this moment, to gradually slow down until you feel yourself arrive right here? Now beginning to connect to the perimeter of your electromagnetic field, the spherical field extending from your heart. And just take a moment to scan 360 degrees in all directions, to come into contact with this boundary, this membrane. And if you notice anywhere that your attention drops out, that it feels like there may be a gap, you can simply hold your awareness there for a breath and intend for that gap to fill in until you can feel in all directions this field intact surrounding you. And now as you breathe, I invite you to begin to inhale from the edges of this membrane. So the breath is spherical. As you inhale, drawing energy from all directions, from the edges of the sphere. And as you draw it in, it concentrates into one single point of center of your heart. So as you inhale, you root into this single point. And as you exhale, you simply relax and allow the spherical ripple to emanate from this one point of the center of your heart in all directions, rippling through your body and extending to fill in this field even more. So breathing, drawing in all that you require for your field and your body to be connected, nourished, at ease and balance. But simply allowing yourself to actively receive that with each in-breath. Then on each out-breath, allow that ripple to extend, to tune every cell of your body in accord with your true nature. Adding a layer within your awareness as you inhale, drawing in the energy that you're drawing in the energy from nature in the exact right combinations and proportions that is most serving for your system now, to be tuned to its true nature, to remember yourself as nature. And feeling with each in breath as you actively receive these energies, these elements. Feel it as the earth receives the sun in receptivity to the life giving force that is here to support your flourishing. So, allowing all of those receptors to flower open as you drink in whatever it is that you need now from nature. And another layer that you're welcome to add is to begin to activate this feeling tone of appreciation as you receive from life. And the deeper you allow your attention to draw into this point at the center of the heart, and you allow this tuning, the various constructs that we agree to participate in, formed by culture, artificial constructs that divorce us from our natural connection to ourselves as nature, begin to fade, to fall into the background, to loosen their hold. And the closer and closer you come into center, the more and more you could feel the naturalness. And then the naturalness is the absolute perfection, as in nature. All things in perfect order. All that is being destroyed is making way for what is to be created. Life consuming itself, receiving itself in order to continue to propagate more life. And there's no judgment in nature of this perfection. All works in complete interdependence. So I invite for the remainder, or these moments in this attunement here, to allow your body to not only receive what it needs to, but to reorganize itself from the center, to be restored in coherence. So our invitation is to remain connected to the space that we've created in this brief attunement, to the stillness that we are connecting into, allowing our minds to be receptive and opening into higher mind. Allow the body to remain relaxed as we hand the baton over to Matt to take us deeper into absolute perfection.
start our practice today with an inquiry, with a riddle for the puzzle. And that is, if the divine, if the absolute, if God, universe, source, whatever term you like to use, is perfect, as most of the world's sacred traditions have claimed, and if we are soul sparks of the divine, if we are emanations of God, then do we know ourself to be perfect as well? Does it mean to be perfect? What does it mean to feel perfect? What does it mean to be perfect in an imperfect world? If we are all things and there is imperfection, how do we reconcile that? And what is your relationship to the nature of perfection? How do you experience and know, not just in your mind, but deep in your bones, what perfection is, what it looks like, and what it feels like? There's many layers of perfection that we encounter along this path of life. The first that we get to disabuse ourselves of is perfectionism, of having some unconscious idea in the deep recesses of our mind of what every word and every action perfectly done and executed, every task done correctly, looking a certain way, speaking a certain way, acting a certain way. You will learn early on in your path of maturation and spiritual development that perfectionism is a trap. Despite social beauty standards or social intelligence standards, or any other thing that we may strive to be, informed by our teachers, informed by overbearing parents, informed by society itself, social media, you probably have recognized already that those are impossible standards and they don't exist, and they are born out of fear. Fear that I might not be liked, fear that I might be too much, fear that I might have to be something other than what I am in order to be fully loved, acknowledged, and accepted. And a deep examination of perfectionism reveals that when I love myself and release fear, that sets the stage for other people being able to love me as well. So perfectionism is one of the perfections that does exist in the universe. Unfortunately, it just exists as a psychosis in the mind of those who seek to be perfect in that way. We don't recommend that path. 1 out of 5 stars. There is another type of perfection that elevates the divine as perfect and me as the individual as infinitely imperfect. If you examine this relationship, it also creates a very particular type of dynamic where we have to constantly be in striving and effort because we will never be enough. If you find yourself in this experience, there tends to be, doesn't have to be, but tends to be a type of guilt, shame, or embarrassment, a type of less than or dirtiness that goes along with this experience. And again, we're left with a paradox. If we are an emanation of the divine, but the divine is better than us, how do you take something that is perfect and dilute it down into something that is less? If it is perfect, it is unmalleable, unmarable, non-dilutable. So if you seek perfection in the absolute alone, but recognize that you also are perfect, now we are in a very interesting territory, a very interesting conversation. What does it mean to be perfect, but maybe not necessarily feel that perfection? If you do an examination of that, you will sense that there is a deep tension between what I most truly am and what I experience myself to be. And that tension between my unconscious perfection and my conscious imperfection drives so much division and discomfort. Because if some aspect of us knows our deep and true perfection, but our human self, our mind, our unexamined aspects cannot find that perfection, there's a constant seeking, a constant scrabbling on the rocks of life to try to find our way back to that most innate, that most real, that most deep and true fundamental aspect that is perfection of divinity, alive and awake, living behind our eyes, waiting to peer out into the world as perfection itself, waiting for the permission from the human or divinity to see through the lived experience of our being. This is the great task of awakening, is to recognize the innate perfection that is here and now, and to realize that we have spent a lifetime practicing, not seeing. You have spent 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, decades on decades, practicing, seeing not perfection. And the true nature of perfection, we must recognize, is not one thing. This is one of the deep secrets of the esoteric awakening, true enlightenment, metaphysical reality of what is. When you have a perfection of one thing, it becomes totalizing and is actually destructive. If you have a perfection of light, that light becomes so hot and so intense that it burns, singes, and scars. If you have a perfection of love, it dissolves all borders and all boundaries and unifies, destroying individuality. And if you have a perfection of life, it goes completely wild. And the canopy of life, this great deep forest in the dark, blots out the light of intelligence. So the true perfection, the metaphysical truth of perfection, is that we need a balancing relationship and interpenetrating recognition and realization of light, of love, and of life. No one will do, no two will do. We need all three. So we recognize our nature as light, as illumined, as radiant, as effusive, as alive, as brilliant. We'd recognize our nature as love, that reaches towards the other, that feels itself as the moving towards, as the combining function, as the joining function in reality. And we recognize ourselves as life, as vital, rising up from the earth, reaching towards the sun at all times, seeking to further create, to take the deep fertility of reality and turn it into its next iteration, a divine function of creation. And it is only when we recognize ourselves as light, as love, and as life that we find what exists as the amalgam of those three things, not joined, not fused, but interoperative, interpenetrating, interinforming, interthriving each other. So as a practice today, I'm going to recommend, invite that we find the way to experience all three of those together. So we'll take them in order because we happen to be finding ourselves living in a time or in the universe that is linear time dependent. So we get to take things one by one, but then we'll combine them so you can feel all three together. The first, light shining down from a spatial dimension we call above, shining down, shining in, shining through, shining beyond. Just imagine light everywhere in and around you. All of reality animated by fluid, intelligent life. A life, a light that seeks, a light that knows, a light that is, a body of light, a thought of light. Everything we touch and see illuminated. Electrons releasing their energy, casting out their photons, becoming radiant. In that way, this body, this world, this seeing, this being, all matter is light. Slow down so that we can experience this particular band of reality. So see yourself as a being of light, walking through the days and weeks and years of your life, illuminating everything that you set your conscious awareness on, everything that you set your focus and attention on becomes illuminated by our nature as light. Now I'm going to invite you out of the crown and into the heart to experience yourself as love, not a being who loves, not someone who has felt love, but as love itself, as that thing that brings two things together, as that thing that binds, it creates connection, as that quality that compels for closeness, for touch, for care, for the intimacy that exists between any two things, whether that be lovers, partners, mother and child, two electrons. This is the quality of love. And you can experience yourself not as a being of love, but as love being. Perhaps you found yourself in this body so that you could be love being. And in that, maybe you found yourself in this call, in this room, in this house, in this country, in this time in history, so that you could experience all of reality being love being, despite what it looks like. Maybe everything that I touch is loving me to the degree that I am loving it. Delight in the loving. In this moment, right here and now, let yourself delight in the loving. Doesn't need to be a forceful bowling over of a tidal wave of love. It can be the most perfect and satisfied and delightful amount of love, both in your heart and as a sea of reality that you are buoyantly carried on. And let your being be love. And now, the great perfection of life, the animating element given to us by matter, by Mother Nature, by the planet, and nourished and inspired by the light of the sun. Feel yourself as animal. Feel yourself as an emanation supported in every single way by the life on planet Earth. Every single breath is oxygen created by plants. Every sensation in the body is built on the food grown on the planet, nourished by plants and minerals, and Gaia herself. Feel that vital flow coming up from the earth, constantly radiating into our beingness. Feel the earth's own aliveness radiating up into our bodies, into our being, into the space around us, and feel your body, what you're sitting on, this room, this house, everything in our manifest reality as nature transformed. All this matter, save precious few meteorites from outer space, is life from the earth. This is all life. This vital and alive earth. This beautiful blue rock hurling through space has this sacred mystery of being this moat of aliveness in an infinite sea of inky, cold, dark space. So acknowledge and accept and allow that life into your body, into your awareness, into your being. Know that I am life, I am alive. And now give yourself the gift of holding all three of these perfections at once. See yourself as light and all of reality as light. See it and feel it as love, reaching, stretching, moving towards, drawing close, and see it as alive, animated, creating. All three at once, no less will do. We can know it in our mind, but we can also feel it in our heart and be it in our body. The mind can give us the great gift of perceiving. The heart will give us the great gift of feeling. And the body can give us the great gift of acting. So for a few moments, just rest in this light, in this love, and in this life. Know that I am this. I am this. The great truth is that we are perfect. And it's up to us to recognize and realize that perfection. It's up to us to enact that perfection in reality. In your nature, as light, love, and life, you are perfect. And the great gift of being human is having a moment to moment to moment choice of the perception and expression of that truth. Do I choose to see it right now? Do I have the courage to hold it as true? And how does that perfection seek to act in, as, and through me? How do I recognize the perfection of my life and the world around me? Despite the seeming duality of the good, the bad, the right, the wrong, the left and the right, the light and the dark. In our humanness, we can honor those dualities and see the gifts inherent in all. And in our spiritual selves, we can see them as the illusion that they are all just dancing oscillations of this perfection of light, love, and life. So know that it is true. Claim, if you have the courage, claim that it is true. I am this. I am this. And with that, we're going to merge right into a prayer because I can feel the overflow of energy that we're all creating. So the prayer today is to simply see reality as perfect. How to invite others to wake up to this perfection, to see the light, love, and life awaking in all beings. Help them know that perfection within themselves. They can love themselves and love others. They can be illumined and illuminate others, and that they can thrive and thrive others. With this great gift that we've been given of being able to see this in ourselves, we give gratitude. Gratitude for having found ourselves in this clever pocket of reality that is this life experience, this individual human body. Thank you for allowing me to be in a body, in a life, in awareness, in a consciousness that can see the perfection of what is. And I hope and pray and act so that others may have this great gift of perfection as well. May it be, and so it is.